so we want to look at the function of function, and the function of function is also called the chain rule, and that's because we are having two functions fused into themselves. So like you have f of x and you have g of x. Now if you see, the chain function in such a way that g of x is actually fused into f of x, so that's why you have f of g of x. Okay, now let's say for example you have f of x is equals to x squared and g of x is equals to 3x plus 1. Now to make this a chain function, what should you do? Times you have to fuse g of x into f of x. And how do you do that? What's going to be the outcome? The outcome is going to look like this, and that becomes 2. So that means anywhere I see x, I have to put the whole of g of x. So that becomes 3x plus 1 all squared. So you can see 2, which is the f. You can see x representing all of g, then squared. So now you see that this is a chain function. This is a chain function. So this is how to identify chain functions. So by that you know that that's a chain function. So how do you differentiate chain function? The best way to differentiate chain function is by differentiating the one inside, that's g of x. So to find the chain function dy dx, then it has to be derivative of the function inside that is going to be fused, then all of the function, then this multiplied by the derivative of all of the functions together, g of x. So what does that mean? How does this play out in this kind of example? Since y equals to this, how do you differentiate this using the chain function rule? Then the y dx has to be, differentiate this guy inside. This is your g of x. When you differentiate 3x plus 1, when you differentiate 3x, you get 3. When you differentiate 1, you get 0. So this is g of x multiplied by, if I differentiate all of this, I take this as a o. That's, remember that this is actually this 2x squared is all of this. That's the function of x. Alright, so if I differentiate 2x, so what do I have? I have 2 into, bring down 2, right? Then I have 2x raised to power. But remember that x now is 3x plus 1. Then 2 minus 1 is 1. So basically I have 3 times 2 is 6, and I have 2 then into 3x plus 1. Then I can just write this as 3 times 2 is 12, then 3x plus 1. So I know this might look complicated to you. That's because you're not really familiar with chain rule, but basically there's another method for solving chain rule. So let me just give you that. You have this function y equals to 2x plus 1 all raised to the power 5. Now because of this bracket, I knew that this is a function of function, and this is a chain function. So what am I going to do? The one inside this bracket, I'm going to represent that with letter u. So let u equals 2x plus 1. And if that's the case, then I now have y becomes, since all of this has become u, then I have u to the power of 5. Good. Now differentiate this du dx. So what's du dx? Du dx is, if you differentiate 2x, what should you get? That's right, 2. Plus, if you differentiate 1, what should you get? 0. Good. So you have, then let's differentiate this as well. So you have dy du becomes what? I'll bring this down, right? That becomes 5u, then 5 minus 1 is actually 4. So this is the derivative of this. And to get the dy dx, so the two derivatives you have done, so just multiply them together. That's the u dx multiplied by dy du. And so what's your dy dx? Dy dx now becomes, the u dx is 2 multiplied by 5u raised to the power 4. And that gives us 2 times 5. You have 10u to the power 4. But you can say this is your answer. Why? Because you represented u with something, 2x plus 1. So come back here and now say that 10 into 2x plus 1 all raised to the power of 4. Basically, so that's it. But you can actually use your head, especially if you're doing an objective question. You can use your head, and this is how to use your head. Very simple, because you might not be required to might not have that luxury of time to actually do all of this. So what should you do? So bring down this 5, it becomes 5. Differentiate the one inside. What do you have? 2, because 2x is 2 plus 1 is 0. So you have times 2. Then write out this back, 2x plus 1. Then subtract 1 from the index, you have 4. And so you have 10 into 2x plus 1 all to the power 4. So that's your answer. So you can use your head. Alright, so we have another example. Y equals 3 into 2x squared plus 2 all to the power of 3. Now, using the chain rule, what should you do? Use your u. Let u equals the one inside the bracket. So you have 2x squared plus 2. Alright, so then that means that y now becomes 3u raised to the power of 3. So what's your du dx? So you're going to have this multiplied by this. You have 2 times 2 is 4x, because 2 minus 1 is 1. And basically 2 is just 0. So by now you should be able to do general method, the derivative of using general method in your head. So you have du dx, 3 multiplied by 3, you have 9. Then u, 3 minus 1, you have 2. Good. So the chain rule says that the y dx has to be what? The u dx, your two derivatives, you're multiplying them, then the y du, and that's 9. Okay. So that's 4x multiplied by 9u squared. So was 4 times 9. So the y dx was 4 times 9 is actually 36. 36x u raised to the power of 2. But recall that you made your u something, 2x squared plus 2. So that becomes 36x into 2x squared plus 2 all raised to the power of 2. So this is your final answer. So basically, can I do this with my head? So I have, the question actually is y equals 3 into 2x squared plus 2 into all raised to the power of 3. So can I do this in my head? Yes. The first thing I have to do is take this index multiplied by the 3 here. I have 3 times 3 is 9. Differentiate this guy here. I have 2 times 2 is 4x. Good. Times 4x. Then I have this guy inside the bracket. 2x squared plus 2 Then subtract 1 from the index. I have 2. And of course, 9 times 4 is 36x into 2x squared plus 2 all squared. So as you can see, it's the same, 36x. So that's how to do it with your head.